Oh my gosh, Amy, what a game for that last set.
That was so fun. And I gotta say that we've gone to game 3 on several of these sets tonight, and we are flying through them. I don't know if that says something about the Series 7 meta or not, but we are just whizzing right through them.
We really are. I feel like a lot of these have been going pretty quickly. I know, like the first game that I commentated with Chase, we had an early forfeit there in game number 3. So actually, it looks like I thought I had the feed live. It looks like it has maybe gone dead on me. So just give me 1 second here while we get this feed. Looks like we've got. Oh, I had it and then I dropped it. It should be good now. Here we are. We are in set number 5 of the evening. Going for our last set of the night. We've got the Pickley, very first time battling on stream against DJ
Pickley.
Prime.
All right.
Yeah, we are seeing something different from DJ Prime. We're not seeing the Auroras. We're not seeing the monotypes. So I'm really excited to kind of see what DJ Prime does here with a different kind of setup for the team. But likewise, the Pickley has some really cool stuff on this team. Getting to see the combination of that Suicune with the Garchomp and the Celesteela. Really cool stuff right there.
Yeah, and DJ Prime has kind of a similar composition, although with different Pokemon. You've got your fast ghost Pokemon, you've got your Celesteela, you've got your strong physical ground type attacker, as well as a way to prevent priority moves with that Serena. So, I mean, even though the composition looks different, there's still some similar strategies at play on both of these teams.
Yeah, and there is some interesting stuff that's going to come in from DJ Prime as well with that Sableye kind of messing everything up. But the Pickley having kind of one of the perfect counters to Sableye in Psychic Terrain and being able to shut down all of those tricks, all of those quashes, anything where DJ Prime's going to want to try and disrupt the Pickley. That Indeedee is going to be super helpful.
Yep.
I will say the one caveat being the Celesteela is still susceptible to everything coming from that Sableye because it's not grounded on the Psychic Terrain.
Not grounded. Yeah, the same thing goes for Celesteela on DJ Prime's side. There is the threat of fake out on Pickley's side. So even if the Psychic Terrain is up, that Celesteela not going to be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm super excited for us to go ahead and get started here. Looking at DJ Prime's team, it almost kind of reminds me of some pieces from a Series 6, going back to that Serena. I know you and I both faced a really similar team in the Top Cut of the women's, or I guess I played in Top Cut, the person that knocked you out of the regular rounds with that Serena, and I know we both have a little bit of a flashback to that Serena.
For sure.
But
it's strong.
Being able to block priority, I think, is really cool, and especially the when you pair it with a Sableye, being able to say, I'm going to block your priority, but my priority is still going to go off, I think is super interesting.
What do you think that wide lens is for on that Spectre?
I don't know. I guess if you really don't want to miss your Hyper Beams, wide lens...
Or Will-O-Wisp, yeah.
Yeah, or Will-O-Wisp. That's another good one if it is a more supportive Spectre.
Snarl too. Yeah, good call, Nips.
Yeah, Snarl misses don't happen a whole lot. Don't tell that to Rollercoaster. I might or might not have in our very first local PC in the Top Cut of that, he missed back-to-back both Snarls on me.
Good, he deserves it. Ban Rollercoaster in the chat.
Yeah, if y'all have the emotes for Ban Rollercoaster, go ahead and use those Ban Rollercoasters. Here we go. We see the Sableye Dragapult lead coming out from DJ Prime, and let's see what we got here from the Pickley. Looks like the Indeedee Garchomp. So both of our dragons coming out here on turn number 1. One thing you got to be a little bit afraid of if you're the Pickley is maybe a self Shadow Sneak into that Dragapult, get the big damage off.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen a weakness policy Dragapult.
Yeah, this team is kind of giving me a little bit of flashbacks, like parts of it to Series 3, parts of it to Series 6, just like little pieces sprinkled throughout a lot of the VGC 2020 meta. Versus the Pickley's looking like a lot of like very strong assets here in Series 7. The Suicune as well as the Celesteela, and of course that Spectre and Garchomp. Just all great Pokemon all around.
Yeah, of course, and Indeedee also has access to that redirection and follow me, which is going to protect this Garchomp from any dragon type moves that this Dragapult might go for. So if you're Dragapult in this situation, it's kind of risky. Usually they carry Dragon and Ghost, so stab type attacks. But of course, Indeedee is immune to that Ghost move. But there it is, the
right
ally
off the bat,
switch.
we see the ally switch coming out from this Sableye here. As the Indeedee goes for the follow me, I guess they both have their own form of redirection here. One's a little bit more chaotic, as the Max Wormend will come out unboosted into this Indeedee. It is still going to be enough for that one-hit KO, though.
Yep, and it is going to drop the physical attack of that Garchomp along the way.
And it is a critical hit there on that Indeedee. I'm not sure if this is one of those bulkier sets where they're more invested in the offense, or in the physical defense, but we see right off the bat here, the Swords Dance on this Garchomp, getting itself up to +2, gonna be really threatening.
Yeah, saying I don't care about your Whirlwind, I'm gonna go ahead and boost up.
Yeah, being able to offset that Wormwind drop and getting yourself to ending the turn on +1 is really nice. Unfortunately, you don't have the speed control on your side here. The opposing Dragapult is still gonna be faster than this Garchomp. And really, you know, that Dragapult's faster than anything not named Blacephalon or Regieleki or Pheromosa. So it's tough to get speed control on it. So you really have to try and pick your pieces right for it.
Yeah, I think what this Garchomp also not having access to protect without the redirection is going to be very susceptible to that Max Wormwind on this turn, even if Celesteela does choose to max and go for something like a Max Airstream on this turn. That Garchomp is extremely threatened by this Dragapult.
Yeah, I think a neutral Max Wormwind into this Garchomp, I'm not sure just how bulky it's going to be and just how much damage it's going to be able to soak up. But yeah, we do see, I think, a pretty smart Dynamax here from the Pickley, getting the Celesteela, which kind of walls the opposing Dragapult. You're not like the opposing you can't go for Airstreams into it. You can drop defenses, but really its typing, I think, is pretty beneficial, and it can boost its own defenses. We do see the trick.
People are bringing the cheese with the best of one turn with the best of one I see coming up.
Yeah,
but we see the Phantasm into the Garchomp.
Yeah, interesting play there. Perhaps a little bit afraid of a switch in. Not any fairies on the field, so maybe just opting for that -1 defense, as the +1 Garchomp does so much damage, and you know, the Pickley really punishing DJ Prime for not targeting directly into the Trick Eject button. As this Celesteela now, it is threatened of being ejected immediately next turn, but you're gonna have to waste your turn doing that. I guess it is actually no.
I guess you could max guard.
Yeah, I mean, you could Shadow Sneak into it because it is not grounded, so the Psychic Terrain not going to be protecting in that case. So that would be something like Wormend plus a Shadow Sneak. Sounds really scary.
It sure does. And it looks like, I didn't see what the Celesteela looked like, but it looked like that Garchomp was going for the Rock Sled, just in an attempt to hit both Pokemon should they target the other one.
Yeah, for sure. I think if DJ Prime doesn't target into that Garchomp this turn, it's going to be in a position to take a double KO, which puts you in a really nice position. And then potentially you can swing some momentum. The hardest part, here we see the ally switch yet again. As the Max Airstream comes out, is it just it's going into the Garchomp to go ahead and take it out, as recognizing Garchomp was really the threat for the spread damage.
Yeah, but this Dragapult is so weak now that really any move is going to knock it out. So I think that the Garchomp may have done its job, almost trading this opposing Dragapult. Oh, the Life Orb damage. There you go.
Yeah.
Just going to make it go down this turn.
For sure. The Life Orb chip taking it out. And interestingly enough, the Trick Eject button isn't going to deny the Celesteela any of its turns because both of the allies have gone down. So you can attack into it all you want next turn. It's still going to get to go for its Dynamax.
Yep. So I think that Pickley might be in a really good spot here. I mean, you do, of course, are threatened that your Celesteela may get ejected out with those boosts and maybe losing those boosts.
But it can't anymore because these are the last two Pokemon, so it has to stay in.
Oh, very good. Yes, that's true. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Indeedee.
Yeah,
Now we see an opposing Celesteela.
Yeah, seeing the weakness policy on the Celesteal is really interesting, especially when you look at the other team. Like, the Raichu is probably the most obvious candidate for proccing that weakness policy, and you do now see this Raichu on the field, but you're not going to get the benefit of a weakness policy anymore. You're just eject button that won't do anything.
Yep. The Raichu can still put down some significant damage on this Celesteela, as can the Incineroar on the opposing Celesteela. So it's kind of looking neck and neck at this point. Either of these players are positioned to take this match.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what a Raichu does on this team. It feels like perhaps wanting to go for something like Eerie Impulse, being more supportive. But yeah, we do see... Oh, the Raichu... Did we see an Incineroar go for a fake out into the Raichu? Rough,
yeah.
Forgetting about the Psychic Terrain there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can fake out the Celesteela, but unfortunately not the Raichu for probably, I think, 2 more turns is what we've got.
Right. But we do see that the Celesteela is able to get off a Max Flare, which is kind of some important information to know that the Celesteela is carrying Flamethrower, which some of them choose to do. Usually the more offensive breeds choose to carry this Flamethrower. Setting up the Sun, which means that both Flare Blitz and Flamethrower are going to be doing more damage than they would outside of the Sun.
Yeah, for sure. And if they Pickly can get rid of this Raichu, you know, really, I feel like depending on DJ Prime's attack set, it's gonna really drive the end game here. So if DJ Prime also has a Flamethrower on his Celesteela, and it looks like it's gonna be the Meteor Beam, probably the power
which can
variant.
miss.
It can miss. We've seen a bunch of 95% accurate moves miss.
It's not fun when it does, but it does happen.
Yep. It looks like it does.
This one's not missing.
Yeah, it does connect with that Meteor Beam, correctly targeting the Incineroar, taking it out. And now the Pickly she's in a pretty rough position here. Gonna have to try.
I'd say in a pickle.
In a pickle for sure. You got to be able to try and take out this Raichu, as well as the opposing +1 special attack Celesteela. It's possible that opposing Celesteela doesn't have a whole lot to hit her Celesteela with, so really finding a way through this Raichu is going to kind of be the end game here. And it looks like the only offensive move that this Raichu is carrying is Nuzzle.
Yeah, and after it's been Eerie Impulse and the chance of a full para of both Celesteelas carrying Flamethrower, interesting. But that Flamethrower is enough at +1. Oh, it's a crit to take that Celesteela out.
Yeah, depending on how Pickly is Celesteela is trained, that crit very well could have mattered. But +1 in the Sun can be doing a whole lot of damage, and I think especially after being in a position where, you know, she didn't target the opposing Celesteela that turn. Not going to be really in a strong position to take it out the following turn, as now it's going to be slower thanks to that Nuzzle.
Yeah. I don't know. If you're Pickly, what do you do to adjust in this game?
Yeah, I think looking at the lead from last time, that Dragapult plus Sableye, something like an Indeedee Spectre might kind of be interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't, you're not weak to the Max Wormend. Your opponent cannot go for the Max Phantasm, and you threaten Max Phantasm damage into your opponent, both of, you know, the Pokemon that they're using as means of redirection in the Sableye or through that Dragapult. So I really think that Spectre is a really interesting bring and a really nice Dynamax target if it's the offensive variant.
With the wide lens, I don't know, but it might be. It might be.
Yeah.
Usually we see something like a Life Orb to just get that little bit of extra damage.
Yeah.
Who knows?
For sure.
I tried running a mix variant for a little while with Will-O-Wisp and Shadow Ball. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, you know, the Spectre, even if they are supported, they tend to carry that Shadow Ball. So really having access to Max Phantasm, that's going to do a lot into either the opposing Dragapult or the opposing Sableye is pretty threatening. The scary thing...
Yeah, and even Celesteela, a Helping Hand Shadow Ball from that Spectre is going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, going to be in a much better position to start the process of snowballing with that Spectre, getting those chilling Nay boosts. I'm sorry, Grim Nay boosts. Forgive me. um, so yeah, it's interesting. The thing that you have to be a little bit cognizant of is, what if the opponent doesn't lead the same thing and you're kind of stuck with your Spectre out there without a great matchup. If it is supportive, then it's actually not terrible. You could maybe get a burn off on Lando. You could maybe get a burn off on even the Dragapult, or can just start to snarl down the special attackers and Celesteela and Raichu.
Yeah, with no misty terrain or no redirection on Prime's side, I would say that is definitely a possibility. We do see the Indeedee Spectre for Pickley and the Landorus and the Celesteela for Prime.
Yeah, two Pokemon that look at the Psychic Terrain and say, I don't really care about it because I'm not grounded, which is not a great thing for them because that means that any kind of priority move coming out from the Pickley can be targeted into them. Unfortunately for Prime, not a whole lot here in the ways of priority moves. And we do see right off the bat here, interesting set here on that Spectre. It does carry the Shadow Ball like almost everything does, but it's also got that more supportive set with the Will-O-Wisp and the Snarl.
Yeah, and perhaps this right here, this lead from Prime is an argument that we might ask ourselves, is there a reason in this meta to run Psychic Surge Fake Out Indeedee?
Yeah, we do see right off the bat, it is the Landorus maxing, so no Choice Scarf is going to be able to allow it to move forward now that it's Dynamax. Going to be really weak here. If this Will-O-Wisp happens to hit, with the help of the Wide Lens, that's a pretty good odds of happening.
There it is. The Will-O-Wisp does connect. That Lander is going to be doing half as much damage. Oh, the
we
Lumberry.
Spoke too soon. It is Lumberry on that Landorus. Gonna go for the max airstream, get back on the speed control, but importantly targeted that Indeedee. So now it's gonna be susceptible to another Will-O-Wisp on next turn, as something like a Follow Me Will-O-Wisp feels incredibly free for the Pickley.
Oh, a double target into the Indeedee, probably trying to get rid of that redirection as soon as possible. But Indeedee just saying, I'm okay to take a protect, kind of like we've seen redirecting Clefairies do on turn 1 from time to time. And it's going to avoid that potential KO from both of those hits.
Yeah, so here, being able, having that Indeedee able to redirect feels really strong, but it looks like the Pickley is opting to say, I think it's going to be pretty obvious that I'm clicking Follow Me, so being down, I'm going to really have to maneuver around here. Let's get this Suicune in. Maybe we can get into a position where we can go for like an Ice Beam or a Max Hailstorm next turn.
Yeah, I like it, and force DJ Prime to target the Spectre, right? Like, force them to target the Spectre. If they're not going to target the Spectre, then go ahead and capitalize on it. And we do see the Will-O-Wisp come out from the Spectre into the Landorus again.
Yeah, unfortunately, you don't get to regenerate your Lumberries. That Landorus will be burned for the remainder of this game, pending any kind of shenanigans like we saw earlier with Healer on the Hatterene.
And this might be a calc that we went over the other day, this Meteor Beam into the Spectre. Let's see if it is into the Spectre. Oh, I don't know.
It is in fact into that Spectre, only doing about 60% damage.
Yeah, it's a scary move. You think Spectre is maybe not going to take that the best, but it's got more special bulk than you'd think.
Yeah, and now the Spectre is kind of in a position where it can just start going for Snarls. I even like seeing that Icy Wind on there. Or no, I'm sorry, that's the Suicune. I was like, wow, I didn't know that it got Icy Wind. That's a way better move than I've been running. But that's because it doesn't get Icy Wind.
On for it.
Something like a Protect definitely works here as well. But yeah, I think, being in this position where your Suicune is threatening kind of quite a bit here.
We see the Max Quake come out once again, trying to raise those special defenses of the Landorus. I don't think this is going to be enough to take out the Suicune, but importantly, with 2 special attackers on the field, it is going to raise the special defenses of both of these mons.
Yep, we do see the follow-up with the Flash Cannon doubling into that Suicune, but Suicune able to go ahead and take both of those. That's not very effective damage, and more importantly, mitigate the max airstream from turn 1. The Max Quake's putting in a lot of work for Landorus here, perhaps also revealing maybe an Assault Vest on it right there. The fact that it didn't protect in the face of a Spectre that was going for Will-O-Wisp, as well as just how much damage it did. Oh, it was Lumberry, of course. End of the night.
Yeah.
Y'all are getting the loose commentating.
Here we are.
Yep.
So now, I think that you may, maybe continue to icy one with the Celesteela. Just helping hand. I mean, sorry, icy one with the Suicune. We do see the helping hand come out. We see the protect from the Celesteela. So if this presumably Shadow Ball is into that Celesteela, we're not going to see, but it's not.
Yep.
It's into the Landorus.
+2 defense Landorus, taking that pretty much like a champ right here. That Celesteela protecting, probably not wanting to take another Icy Wind, perhaps, or not wanting to take a Snarl. But yeah, the burn really putting in a whole lot of damage.
Putting in work.
As the Suicune lives on 2, gonna be in a position where it can go for another attack this next turn.
Yep, both of these Mons are kind of free to just attack into Prime's Mons on this other side. It'll be interesting. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
The real question is here, I might start to prioritize some some Snarls, just trying to lower the Celesteela, get it back down to neutral. You were able to successfully stall out the Dynamax, trading really only your, a bunch of damage on your supportive Spectre, as well as a bunch of damage on your supportive Suicune. The Pickley's still in a great position with, her Dynamax target Mons in the back, but if you can get something else out of this, like a Snarl to lower the special attack, or if this is enough to pick up a KO, it looks like...
We do see Protect on Landorus.
Yeah, this is the first time we're seeing Protect, and Shadow Ball goes into that Protect.
Yeah. And the Flash Cannon comes out again from Celesteela. Gonna be enough to pick up that Suicune this time. But I assume that Celesteela's in the back for Pickley.
Yeah, the thing, I think I don't necessarily agree with the targeting there. I feel like I would want to prioritize taking out that Spectre. We haven't seen Snarl yet, sure. But if it does carry Snarl, it's faster than the Celesteela, and it's going to be able to drop any of its boosts back down. But yeah, I'm seeing a question in chat. Did Pickley bring Incin? Can they break through Celesteela? So yeah, Pickley...
Good question.
As we saw in the last game, Pickley does have Flamethrower on this Celesteela, so it can go for something like a Max Flare into a Max Flare, and I'm sure that should be enough through on a non-Dynamax Celesteela to go ahead and pick it off.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Indeedee preserve from early in the game is still in the back. So perhaps preserving that Indeedee to support the Celesteela with redirection in the late game, knowing that Prime Celesteela also has Flamethrower, might be a good call.
Yep, and here we just see the alternating turns of Protect from DJ Prime, as a Snarl will not be getting any damage off into that opposing Celesteela, and it is going to lower the special attack on this Landorus. I don't think that's going to matter too much, as this Earthquake should, after all of this, be enough to pick up the KO onto the Spectre. I think it should do 26 damage, and yeah, we do see it do just enough damage.
Yep, so that Spectre gonna go down, finally, but not without a cost to DJ Prime. That Landorus is still just hanging out there, burn. I think maybe what you want to do here is to target down that Celesteela. It just protected. This is a Prime turn. You know that the Landorus on the opposite side of the field is burned, and it can't hit you with its stab type Earthquake, So I think it might be a perfect time to get your own Dynamax going and to start putting down some big damage on the Celesteela.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's definitely one option. The other thing, you're also in a great position to start going for Expanding Forces. There's nothing really there that's able to stop an Expanding Force.
True.
You could just essentially here, if you wanted to just target down damage on the opposing Celesteela and go for an Expanding Force to take out the Landorus, because the Landorus will not be taking out this Indeedee, short of like a Mega Ultra Super Crit. And even that, I'm suspect, because, crit doesn't completely ignore the burn damage mitigation, so.
Right.
We see Rollercoaster being asked to ban him.
I'm banning him now. I can't wait. I'm doing it.
We see the Earthquake come out. Just going to be doing a little bit of chip here into the Indeedee. Not a whole lot whatsoever. It's not really something where at this point, the Landorus isn't really super threatening.
Interesting choice to go ahead and go for that steel spike. Maybe looking at Prime's team, thinking that, the Serena, the Dragapults are physical attackers, and maybe wanting to get that physical defense boost. But really, I think the biggest threat to this Celesteela is the opposing Celesteela.
Yeah, knowing that it knows Flamethrower, but forcing a Flamethrower into it would also proc the Pickly's weakness policy. But
sure.
Yeah, and this is where leaving that Celesteela alone allows it to get another Beast Boost, and it's going to be able to take out the Indeedee there. So, not the most ideal thing. So we got to see a Dynamax Celesteela with 2 turns to go. Do you think it has enough to pull off the 3v1?
I don't know. This Raichu, as we already know, has Eerie Impulse. Which is going to severely hamper even if the weakness policy gets procced.
Did we
in
see
one
Eerie
turn.
Impulse last game? Or did
I think we did.
I thought we saw just Nuzzle twice.
I think we saw Eerie Impulse.
I might have missed that. Yeah, if it has Eerie Impulse, definitely in a really strong position. But if it goes for Nuzzle, procs the weakness policy here.
And they get to move, yeah.
That's gonna go ahead and put this Celesteela actually, strangely enough, in a stronger position. The opposing Celesteela's Flamethrower still doing a good chunk, over half damage, but returning with her own Max Flare, gonna KO that Celesteela.
Yep. Only one Celesteela remains.
And now the Celesteela is at +4 special attack, mitigating really any potential Eerie Impulse, even if it...
True.
If this Raichu goes for Eerie Impulse on this next turn, it's still going to be at +2 and can be doing a lot of damage. The only question is, can it hang on? Ooh, and Dragapult as the last mon, a little bit scary there. It's free to go for like something like Phantom Force to completely avoid the attack, which is super scary.
Yeah, and you've got to imagine that Raichu, I don't know if the Raichu or the Sableye was carrying the Sash on this team. I don't know if we saw or we got that information last time, but especially if you have to get 2 hits into this Raichu with no way to really set up any residual damage, it's going to be tough still.
Yeah, we do see Dragapult opt for that Phantom Force. Going to go ahead and avoid any attacks this turn around, and it looks like Raichu is carrying another super effective attack, going for the Thunderbolt, getting the critical hit.
Holding that out. Yeah, nice.
I'm kind of surprised that we didn't see that in the previous game, because it felt like it was in a Thunderbolt range previously, and instead went for the Nuzzle plus Flamethrower style points play.
Yeah, I mean, in a best of 3, that's the kind of information you like to preserve, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Really well played by both DJ Prime, longtime battler here, as well as the Pickly, first-time battler. So congratulations to Prime on the win, and thank you so much for coming out and playing in your first battle, Pickly. We are looking forward to many more in the future.